Hey guys, it's Woody. Back in black. Um, so obviously I'm back from home time, and a couple days ago was October 1st, 2017. I live in Las Vegas, and my home where I live is 2 miles away from the Mandalay Bay and where the shooting took place. So I was up until about 3 o'clock in the morning, getting in touch with all my friends, making sure that they were all okay. I had a few friends who were actually there. My wife had a friend who actually got shot in the leg. As far as I know, she's okay now. And there was a period of time where we didn't know what was going on. We kept getting reports that the person was moving farther down the strip, which is getting closer to us. So we were on high alert. Didn't get much sleep at all that night because, like I said, we went to bed at probably 3, and got up at like 8 or 9, and we're just going throughout our daily lives. And yesterday was just a weird feeling all day long. There was some crying going on, and like on and off all day. There was tearing up, but one thing that I learned yesterday about this city is, they look out for each other. We look out for each other here. People were lined up at 4:30 in the morning already, waiting to donate blood. Every blood donation center in the city was, packed. There were lines. The lines were amazing. They were all the way out. People would wait in line 10 hours, 10 plus hours sometimes. And then we had donations, and where they were having family members meet for the victims, and where they were taking a lot of the donations. I live right across the street from there. So I got to see a lot of things in action. So all day I was listening to the radio, the local radio station, and they were, they weren't playing music. They were taking calls. Their lines were open for everybody to just call and either, just get it off their chest or give updates on where to donate blood, what supplies are needed and where. People offering to give rides to people, that's all I heard was people coming together on the radio. Nobody was talking about the shooter. Nobody was talking about any of that because nobody cared about any of that. They just cared about helping out their community and the people that were impacted by this. Then, I get to places where they have the news on, and all I hear about is the shooter and why did this happen and how did this happen and how could it have been prevented and all this stuff, and just people politicizing it right away. That's not what the Las Vegas citizens were worried about. They weren't worried about that. They were worried about their neighbor, and that just goes to show that all of these things that happen, the communities aren't worried about the politics of it. The people affected aren't worried about the politics of it and what their affiliation was with who and what. Nobody cared about that. All they cared about was their neighbor, their community, helping people out. So, I learned a lot this weekend. Again, about mainstream media. Nothing that I didn't know before, but I kind of got to see it firsthand. The media just twists things to their liking, their agenda. And I also got to kind of see the difference between CNN and Fox News, because when I was at my wife's work, they had CNN going all day, and I showed up there and I was just pissed off listening to what they were saying, what they were talking about. And then finally somebody was like, can we change it? So they changed it over to Fox News, and Fox News was more or less doing what the radio station was doing. They were talking to the people who survived. They were talking to other citizens who were either there, witnessed it, offering help, whatever, and they were getting their side of the story. How did it go down? What was going through your head? How are you handling it now? Are you okay? What supplies are needed? Things like that. That's what they were covering. And then I look over at the other TV and they're still talking about, the politics and, who is this guy and what was his affiliation? Was he religious in any way? What political leaning did he have? Drop that. Nobody cares. You can talk about that later. Let's get everybody okay first, And that was yesterday. Less than 24 hours after it happened. So, yeah. And, Fox did have a little bit of that, who is this guy, blah, 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 blah. But, I mean, it is obviously a question that comes up. Who is it? Is it all taken care of? Was there only one shooter? Was there many? All those questions come up. But they're like, well, we don't know anything about him. Law enforcement doesn't have anything on him. He's clean. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, let's move on. And that's what they did. Well, but CNN just won't drop it. They keep digging and digging and digging and digging. And, yeah, so, anyway, I just want to say that, the Las Vegas residents have really stepped up. I've been worried about things like this happening. Exactly like this. I've said it over and over and over again. Las Vegas is like fish in a barrel. You have all these events that happen here, and if something's going to happen, it's going to happen at one of those events. And it did. And it was like fish in a barrel. 59 dead, 527 injured. Those are big numbers. Those are wartime numbers by one shooter. Right now, that's all we've got. There's also reports of another shooter on the 4th floor, and I've looked at those videos. I've seen 3 different angles so far. And at first, I thought it was a shooter. But you listen to the police reports and the radio, them talking back and forth, and, they're saying it was a strobe light. There's no window broken on the 4th floor. Now, the window might be able to be opened, but I don't think that jives. First of all, it's the 4th floor, and these people were across the street, and there are, cover. I just don't think that would be a good vantage point anyway, unless you were doing something like right there in the parking lot of the Mandalay Bay and nothing happened there. So I don't know. That's my take on that. They said it was a strobe light. There's no broken windows. There's no signs of anything like that. So, but I worry about things like this happening, and my wife living here, and me being out on the road. I have been wanting to move to somewhere a little more quiet, or get something where I'm home every day. But right now I'm just going to work with what I have. So yeah. So I worry about those things. But like I said, we have a good community. I've got good neighbors. I've got neighbors that look out for her. In fact, my neighbor is the one that called me and let me know what was going on, because I was actually picking her up from work and going home, and he called me and told me what was going on, and we kind of got together with our other neighbors, and we were sitting there talking about it, and so she does have people that look out for her. It's not like she's just there all alone, but it just sucks that I'm not there. One thing that she brought up, she was like, I'm glad that you were here for it, that she wasn't here alone for it. And I wasn't even supposed to be home this week. I put my home time in for last week, and it wasn't available. It wasn't open. So I had to come home this week. And, it just worked out that way. God works in mysterious ways. Yeah. Anyway. Reach for the sky. Look out for each other.